Hey everyone, today I want to share with you some of the best deals that you can pick up for your Nintendo Switch right now at brand new all-time low pricing. By the way, we've been getting quite a few comments saying that notifications aren't working, so just keep an eye out for that if you're not seeing videos pop up. We've been releasing a ton of them every week, so feel free to come through the channel and get caught up. Now there may be a new giveaway coming, wink wink, so keep an eye out for anything that seems out of place and make sure to take a note if you see a random number or a letter pop up on screen while watching for the next few episodes. I'll explain more in the future when we get closer to the giveaway date. Welcome back to the crew, and if you're new here, thanks for checking out the list. Let's go ahead and dive in, stay safe and enjoy the video. Alright, we'll start with 30XTX, which is a brand new action platformer. It's the follow-up to the 2018 hidden gem 20XTX, and both games were heavily inspired by the classic Mega Man franchise. It has a download around 1 gig and offers local and online co-op for 2 players as well. You're given the option to play as a few different characters, one is melee and the other has a ranged attack, and the game offers a couple different ways to play through, with one sort of acting like an easy mode, but keep in mind that the game is still tough regardless of how you play through. Now you can tackle the levels in any order that you would like, and they all have a fun boss battle at the end. Right now you can pick it up for just $17.99, marked down 10% with an introductory discount, and the deal ends on the 14th. Next we have Chained Echoes, which is a one-player JRPG that leans heavily into the narrative. It tells the story of a war that's raging on between 3 kingdoms, and our small group of heroes will have to travel through some pretty amazing locations, including a sunken city and hidden dungeons, and the game should take between 30 and 45 hours to wrap up. Now the battles are turn-based, so keep that in mind, and they did remove random encounters so you can see the enemies on screen and choose if you want to engage or go around them. They went with the retro 16-bit aesthetic that looks gorgeous here on the console, and the soundtrack is on point as well. Right now you can pick up Chained Echoes for just $19.99, marked down 20% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 10th. You'll need about 1 gig for the install. Death's Door is a single-player adventure game with a download around 2.7 gigs and a story that will last roughly 8 to 10 hours to wrap up. Now the atmosphere and music are top-notch and the boss battles are unique and challenging. The combat system is amazing and it allows you to blend magic and use melee weapons, plus the level design is another highlight. Now the game is definitely a hidden gem in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, it's tough for sure, but if you're up for the challenge, it's on sale for just $7.99, marked down 60% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 10th. Up next we have LUNARK, which is a single-player sci-fi platformer with an extremely retro aesthetic, and it reminds me a lot of games like Flashback or Another World. Now if you played older games from the 80s, you'll know what I mean when I say that the movement and controls will take some getting used to, and you may die once or twice while doing so. You also have a ton of NPCs to interact with, and these conversations will provide a lot of lore and backstory for those that are willing to listen. And of course you have the amazing cutscenes to push you along until you get back into the action. Now this is a really cool game with a unique look, and right now it's on sale for just $13.99, marked down 30% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 13th. You'll need about 200 megabytes for the install. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is a multiplayer beat-em-up that offers both local and online multiplayer options for up to 6 people, and it has a download around 1 gig. Now the game was inspired by the cartoons and arcade games from the late 80s and early 90s, and the folks behind the game have a proven track record of making solid beat-em-ups in the past. Now this one has a few different game modes as well, including the in-depth story and the more classic arcade mode, but either way that you choose to play is a blast. The controls are responsive and it looks so pretty here on the console, plus there's brand new DLC available that expands the roster of playable characters even further. Right now you can pick up the base game for just $17.49 with the DLC adding an additional $7.19 on top of that, and the deal ends on the 14th. Next we have Pirates Outlaws, which is a single player deck builder, and this one is a roguelike, so be prepared for that as it can get pretty difficult, and I know that combo isn't for everyone. Now this one reminds me a lot of Slay the Spire, and it's been out on mobile platforms for a while, finally getting a port here to the Switch. Now as you play through, you'll work your way through battles, building up the best deck that you can from the more than 700 possible cards that you'll be able to find and collect. And as you progress upwards, you'll also have the option to heal up or buy upgrades. It offers 16 playable characters and multiple game modes for a ton of replay value, and right now it's on sale for just $10.19, marked down 40% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 10th. You'll need about 630 megabytes for the download. Bleak Sword DX is a unique single-player action title with Souls-like combat, and it offers players more than 5 hours of game time on average, with the download around 650 megabytes. Now this version has revamped controls, and they added in the new game modes for added replay value. It's broken down into 12 chapters, including the 3 additional DLC missions, and features simple yet satisfying combat, tons of enemy variety, and the boss battles are a blast. In fact, they have a boss rush mode if you'd like to take them on back to back as well. It's a pretty incredible game. It is tough, but again, if you're up for the challenge, you can grab it up before the deal ends on the 10th. It's marked down 25% to just $7.49. Next, we have Loop Hero, which is a single-player strategy RPG with a download around 270 megabytes, and it offers more than 30 hours of gameplay on average. Now, the game is all about going around in circles, but what keeps it interesting is that every trip around something changes or something new comes at you. It's a mashup of deck building, board games, and RPGs. It's kind of hard to explain, but as you make your way around, you'll place down cards, and these will do different attacks or other different random things. Then after you're done each run, you can upgrade your base of operations, which will give you even more powerful cards that you can use later. The game is wildly addictive, and we're checking out while on sale until the 10th. It's at a new low of just $5.24. Onion Assault is the newest game from the creator of the Gunman Clive HD collection, as well as a couple other great indie games here on the Switch. This time around we have a 2D platformer that feels sort of like a blend of Super Mario 2 and the previously mentioned Gunman series. Now, like with Super Mario 2, you can pick up enemies or catch projectiles and throw them back at them, and the game is surprisingly fun. It has a download just under 150 megabytes and gives players a total of 16 different levels to work their way through, each getting a bit harder, and by the end it can be pretty challenging. Right now you can pick it up for just $3.19, marked down 60% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 21st. Post Void is a psychedelic first-person shooter, and it's a roguelike again, so keep that in mind if you're not a fan of the genre. The game is all about speed, and your only mission is to find a way to the end of each level before your life vial runs out of fluid. You're rewarded with more time, or liquid in this case, as you take out enemies, and of course if you take damage, your time will be cut down for each blow that you take. The game has a wild visual design, and the music hits you like a truck, and right now you can pick it up for just $5.99, marked down 25% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 10th. You'll need a little over 300 megabytes for the install. Dawn of the Monsters, which is an exciting beat-em-up that offers local co-op for 2 players and lets us take control of the 4 different behemoths as we stomp our way through 35 different missions. The worlds are fully destructible and based on real-world cities, and it should take anywhere between 5 and 10 hours to wrap up. Now, each of the playable characters has unique abilities and playstyles, and you can customize them as you play through as well. Right now it's on sale for just $14.99, marked down to half price and bringing it to a new low, and the deal ends on the 8th. You'll need a little under 3 gigs for the install. Up next we have Figment 2 Creed Valley, which is a top-down adventure title that takes place within the mind of a broken man who's battling with his own internal demons. Now we play as Courage, and it's our job to take out the nightmares that haunt him. The game offers light puzzle solving and action-based combat with an all-original soundtrack that's incorporated into the narrative of the gameplay, and it's amazing once again here in the sequel. Overall, I find these games to be incredibly creative with the way they handle the heavier topics and the worlds that they create. The main story should last roughly 4 to 5 hours, and the download is around 1.5 gigs. It even offers a limited 2-player option for local co-op. It's a great pickup, and it's on sale for just $16.24, marked down 35% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 13th. Next we have Kao The Kangaroo, which is a game I'm a little torn on. While I really enjoy it, it's been plagued with issues since launch, and some of them have been worked out while others still pop up on occasion. So let me just say that it's a game I'd recommend, but with the caveat that it's not perfect at all, but it is still a lot of fun. It's a 3D platform adventure title with tons of collectibles and cool levels to play through. The combat is simple and fun, and a lot of the game has voice acting to accompany the on-screen text, even if it's not the best always. Now the game offers more than 10 hours of playtime, so it's a pretty solid value when on sale. Again, it just has a couple of rough edges. If you're interested though, you can pick it up on sale for just $13.49, marked down 55% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 17th. You'll need a little under 4 gigs for the download. Phoenotopia Awakening is a single-player retro 2D RPG with a download around 1 gig, and this one offers more than 50 hours of gameplay. The pixel art and retro sound are absolutely top tier, and the game features challenging combat, unique puzzles, and encourages exploration as well. Now the story revolves around a young girl who, while out gathering the rest of the children, ends up getting sidetracked, and while away the entire town disappears, leaving just her and her friends to uncover the mystery. Along the way, you'll face off with bosses that'll test your skills and reflexes, you'll uncover secrets, find hidden collectibles, and of course you'll form friendships with the NPCs that will ultimately help you save your home. Right now it's on sale for just $7.99, marked down 60%, and the deal ends on the 11th, bringing it down to a brand new low. Definitely worth checking out. Primal Light is a retro-inspired single-player action platformer with a download around 280 megabytes, and it gives players 10 different levels to work your way through, each having their own boss at the end as well. Now, as I mentioned, it has a retro feel, and you can definitely tell the devs love the Castlevania series, and the art design works well here on the Switch. The combat is pretty intense, and it's a difficult game overall by default, but there is a difficulty slider if you feel it's just a bit too tough. The sound design is top tier as well, and right now you can pick up Primal Light for just $5.99, marked down 60% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 17th. Up next we have Pumpkin Jack, which is a fun single-player 3D action platformer that will take roughly 6 to 7 hours to wrap up. Now in this one we play as Jack, who's been contracted by the devil to do his bidding, and while the game is fairly linear, there are a few different level types to keep it fresh along the way. Now one really cool mechanic here were the areas where you would just use Jack's head to complete a puzzle while leaving his body behind. If you like these types of adventure games, make sure to check this one out. It's a steal right now at a brand new low of just $8.99. It's marked down 70% and the deal ends on the 17th, but you will need about 3 gigs for the install. Bright Memory Infinite Gold Edition is an action-packed first-person shooter with a download around 2.6 gigs. It originally released on PC a little while back and eventually made its way here to the Switch in the form of the Gold Edition. Now from what I can tell, it's just cosmetic DLC like new outfits and such, and the game is a combination of first-person shooting and close-quarter combat, and I'm happy to say it looks and runs great here on the Switch. My only complaint was the runtime, as the game is about 2 hours, but I did end up playing like 2 or 3 times when I first got it. Honestly, it's like watching an action movie where you're in the center of it all. It's a blast, and right now it's on sale for just $15.99, marked down 20% with the deal ending on the 10th and matching an all-time low. In fact, we have a full playthrough of it here on the channel if you'd like to check it out. I'll have it linked down below. Crying Suns is a space-themed tactical roguelike here on the Switch, and it offers an outrageous amount of content, as there are more than 300 unique events that you can experience while playing through the story. Now we take control of a space fleet as commander, and we work our way through the 6 different chapters of that main story, which are really interesting and worth seeing all the way through to the end. It runs well here on the console, and the controls are about as good as I think you can get for the genre. I mean, these games always seem to suffer a little bit in that area, but with this one it's not too bad at all. Now the game is certainly not easy by any stretch of the imagination, so be prepared for a bit of a struggle, but if you're a fan of a good roguelike, you can pick up Crying Suns for just $12.49, marked down to half price and matching an all-time low, and the deal ends on the 3rd. You'll need about 550 megabytes for the install. Up next we have Elderand, which is a newer single-player 2D action platformer with heavy RPG mechanics added in. It offers an incredibly tough challenge, as many of even the most basic enemies can be deadly, and it does require a bit of grinding to level up to take on some of the tougher ones even from the start. You do have a wide variety of cool weapons to use, and there's plenty of enemy variation and changes in the environment to keep things feeling fresh, but again I have to stress that the game is tough as nails. On top of that, it will take a bit of getting used to the controls and the feel of the movement, but it all comes together pretty well in the end. If you're interested in Elderand, you can pick it up for just $13.39, marked down 33%, matching an all-time low, and the deal ends on the 10th. You'll need about 3 gigs for the download. Evil Tonight is a single-player top-down adventure game from DYA Games. They're one of our personal favorites here at the channel. Now it features a top-down view and feels very much like playing older Resident Evil games, just with better controls. One thing to keep in mind though, there's no hand-holding and no map, so you'll have to explore and find items, solve puzzles, and search for different secrets, all while managing your inventory in order to progress through at your own pace. The story itself will last roughly 10 to 12 hours, and it definitely surprised me the first time I played through. The combat is a lot of fun, and the visual presentation and audio design are perfect here on the console. This is a hidden gem in my opinion, and right now you can pick it up for just $12.74, marked down 15% and matching an all-time low, with the deal ending on the 6th of September. Signalis is a retro-inspired survival horror game here on the Switch. It has a download around 3.6 gigs and tells an incredible story that grabs you right from the beginning and then never lets go. It's a game you'll think about for a bit even after you've finished. Now, the opening chapter of the game holds your hand pretty well to get you started and teach you the mechanics, but then it's up to you from there. If you're a fan of older survival horror games, you'll know that ammo is limited, as is your inventory, so you'll have to manage both with care. The main story will last roughly 10 to 12 hours, and for those that are fans of the genre or curious to jump in, this is a great pickup this week. It's on sale right now for just $15.99, marked down 20% and matching an all-time low. The deal does end on the 3rd though, so you'll have to hurry up. Alright folks, and as always, here are a few other deals to check out while you're already on the eShop. Alright everyone, thank you all for watching. You're legendary if you made it this far. Thanks again to the channel members and the patrons and really everybody that comes through to check out the videos. We really do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.